داخلين هنا صح؟ Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, depending on where you are. We'll just wait a few minutes to give people enough time to join, but thank you all for being here today.
Good morning, Freya. Good morning, colleagues.
Hi, bonjour Kelson, bonjour à tous.
Bonjour,
Good
Monsieur
morning,
Sao,
everyone.
vous l'avez fait.
Good morning,
Oui, ça va.
everyone.
Hello, Moussa.
Oussama.
Osama, not Musa.
Oui, c'est Oussama. Bonjour, Oussama.
Bonjour.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Nagla from Sudan.
Hi, Nagla. Nice to see you here. Thank you for joining, Nagla. I was just writing a message to you.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, Kulsum. Good morning, everyone. This is Muhammad Magdi from Egypt.
Good morning, Mohammed. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. صباح الخير جميعا. السلام عليكم.
السلام عليكم, Mr. سمير. كيف الحال?
الحمد لله تمام. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Should we make a start, Keltoum, or do you think we should wait a little bit longer just to see if some other colleagues join?
Yes, just yeah, we can for example start with the objective and the agenda. For example,
Should we do the opening remarks first, or do the agenda and objectives first?
the opening remarks and then the agenda and the objectives, and then we can take a picture and then my session.
Okay, perfect. Well, good morning, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for all joining us today from the different countries across the MENA region. It's a pleasure to welcome you all to this webinar, which is going to be focusing on a topic which is both quite timely and strategic, which is preparing for the technical expert review under the ETF of the Paris Agreement. So my name is Freya Milford, and I'm a transparency officer who's working on the CBIT GSB project, which is funded by Jeff, supported by UNEP, and implemented by UNEP CCC. And I'm based here in Copenhagen at the Climate Centre. And I work closely with Keltoum across the MENA region, for which obviously, as you all are aware, she's the network coordinator for. So again, as I'm sure you're all aware at this stage, the CBIT GSB project aims at providing technical and capacity building support to the different countries across the 10 transparency networks, of course, of which MENA is one of them, in their transparency efforts and in meeting the transparency requirements under the ETF of the Paris Agreement. So as we all know, the ETF is a cornerstone of the Paris Agreement, which is designed to promote transparency, trust, accountability among the different parties, as well as collectively working together towards our climate goals. And at the heart of this is the Biennial Transparency Reports, which you're all very familiar with at this stage, which is obviously your national reports, which communicate your country's national greenhouse gas emissions, progress in tracking of your NDC, information relating to support needed and received, whether it's financial, technology or capacity building, and then information on climate impacts and adaptation. So obviously the submission of the BTR was for the 31st of December 2024, but of course countries can continue submitting their first BTR over the next year. And what's important to obviously remember is that the submission of this national report is just one part of the BTR process. For each BTR which is submitted, which is over which country should be aiming to submit over a 2-year cycle, they're each required to undergo a technical expert review, which is really offering countries with the opportunity to receive constructive feedback on the clarity, consistency, and transparency of the information detailed within their BTR reports. This process is really crucial, and it really enhances the quality of these national reports and also enables countries to strengthen their institutional capacities based on the feedback, and also help countries identify areas where further support on improvements are needed in their next reporting cycle. So again, it kind of feeds into this very cyclic nature of the BTR process. So it's great to say that 6 countries from the MENA region successfully submitted their BTRs to date, and this is obviously a major milestone. And of course, many of the other countries are now currently in the final stages of either preparing their BTR for submission this year or still continuing their work on this. So this is really great, and we're obviously expecting a few more submissions from the region over the next few months. And looking ahead, the first rounds of the technical expert reviews have already begun taking place for some other countries outside of the region. And obviously for the countries within MENA that have submitted, they're going to be having your TER soon. And I think one of the key takeaways in this is that early preparation is really key, and also understanding of these processes is really key. And so today's session is a really important step in that direction. So our main objective of today is to just provide an overview of the TER process, exploring the core components and hearing directly from some of the international reviewers from the region, Samir and Manua, as well as to kind of gain insights on the role of the reviewer, how it can be done, and shedding light on the expectations, the practical challenges, and the opportunities that the TER presents. So thank you once again for all being here, and I'm really looking forward to a productive and insightful session today. And now, if you just bear with me, I can share my slides just to quickly go through the objectives and the agenda. 1 second. Just let me know when you can see them. You see them now?
Yeah.
Perfect. So kind of as I said in the opening remarks there, obviously the overall objectives is to introduce you, the participants, to the general concept behind the TER within the BTR process, share some insights from the international reviewers, highlight some of the key requirements and challenges, and initiate efforts into strengthening the preparedness of the region for the TER, and also, ultimately supporting the countries in building capacity as it relates to the TER process. So here's just a quick look at the agenda. It's a 2-hour. We have 2 hours today, so I think that's more than enough time to be able to, one, have some really great presentations, and also have some time for some question and answers and kind of roundtable discussions for any of your questions. And of course, we do have the Q&A function and the chat function enabled in today's session. So if you're having questions as people are presenting, or while someone else is talking, please feel free to submit them into the chat in your obviously we don't have simultaneous interpretation for today's session, but of course feel free to use whatever language you're most comfortable with, whether that's French, Arabic, or English. So as we said, we'll just be doing the opening remarks, and then Keltoum will be delivering a short presentation on the overall overview, and then we'll have some time where, as I said, Samir and Manuel from Egypt and Algeria, and they'll be sharing some of their insights from the review process, which will be followed by a discussion. We'll then have a second presentation, which will be on the UNFCCC TER training program and the opportunities that you could all have in potentially becoming a reviewer under this, and that'll be followed by an open discussion with then our closing Mentimeter and survey. So unless anyone has any immediate questions, I would ask you all to turn your cameras on so we can take a picture. I'll just stop presenting. So if you could all turn your cameras on so we can get a nice group picture. I think we can get more of us for this. Here we go. There's just a few more would be great, would be lovely. Okay, I'll take one. Okay,
Hi, Hind.
perfect.
Hi, Smehan. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Mr.
Kulthum,
Saeed,
thank you.
Mr.
الله يخليك.
Hisham,
السلام
also
عليكم الدكتور كلثوم الدكتور سمير
كيفك
والله وحشنا يا
دكتور؟
دكتور سمير وحشنا
والله بارك الله فيك اخ سعيد، والله انت وحشنا اكتر، والله بارك الله فيك.
ننتظر زيارتكم في مسقط ان شاء الله.
ان شاء الله
إن
شرفنا
شاء الله إن شاء الله بإذن الله.
الله فيك وانتم كذلك يا
حيكون
كلثوم،
شرف كبير إن شاء الله.
كلكم مدعوون ان شاء الله. بارك الله فيكم.
إن شاء
بارك
الله
الله
ربي
فيك.
يخليك. شكرا.
بارك الله فيك. شكرا.
I'm sorry, I don't need to active my camera.
That's okay. I think I got enough. I think I got enough beautiful faces for the picture today. I'll hand over to you now, Kulthum, if you want to start
Yes,
your presentation.
yes, of course. Thank you very much.
And thank you again, everyone, for joining today's session. And I'm really looking forward to it.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yep, we can see it.
Yeah, okay. So thank you very much and good morning or good afternoon, dear colleagues. Thank you very much for joining us today. This first session will be a kind of overview and introduction to the technical expert review, or TOR or TER or TER or whatever how you spell it in your country. So we are going, sorry, I need to move to the second slide. Yeah. So in this session, we will see an overview of the TER process, its scope, its different formats, and then we will focus on the review plans and formats and also rules and expectation from parties, especially in this first round of review of the first BTR. So the ETF process is composed by 3 steps. The first step is the submission of the BTR. As you all know, each party to the UNFCCC and Paris Agreement shall submit its BTR every 2 years. This BTR includes information on inventory, on NDC progress as mandatory areas, and then on support provided for developed countries, support needed and received for developing countries, plus adaptation as just additional information or as voluntary basis. So the second step begins after the submission. Each BTR submitted shall conduct a technical expert review, which is the process by which the Biennial Transparency Report submitted by countries are reviewed by a team of independent experts. So technical expert review is actually some independent experts to the UNFCCC who do that work. So this TOR is reviewed the consistency of information, the progress in NDC implementation or its achievement, and also it's helping countries to identify some areas of improvement and also some capacity building needs. After that, the FMCP or the facilitative multilateral consideration of progress will be also conducted. This is actually a platform of representation of your BTR where you will receive some questions and you will need to answer the questions from other parties, from other organizations, and it's online platform to co-share gaps and good practices and exchange about this first experience of the BTR. So based on decision 18 SEMA 1, and we know that decision 18 SEMA 1 means MPGs, we have two paragraphs highlighting some guiding principles for the TER. The first one is that the TER shall pay particular attention to the respective national capacities and circumstances for developing countries, and also that the TER process should be implemented in facilitative manner, non-intrusive, non-punitive manner, respectful of national sovereignty, and of course needs to avoid placing undue burden on parties, which means that the TER need to pay particular attention and respect the capacities and circumstances, and also to respect the national sovereignty. Okay, so what is the scope of the TER? In general, a technical expert review consists of, first of all, reviewing the consistency of information submitted under Article 13 of the Paris Agreement, and of course, considering flexibility of for developing countries, also helping the country in identifying areas of improvement and identifying also some capacity building needs. The TER shall not, and this is very, very important to take into consideration, the TER or the TER team shall never make political judgments, shall never also assess the adequacy and appropriateness of a party's NDC or its indicators. What we mean by that? We mean actually that the technical expert review cannot assess whether the NDC of a country is really ambitious or no, and whether this country didn't choose another type of the targets, for example, for a country with mitigation co-benefits from adaptation and socio-economic diversification plans. So, for example, the technical expert reviewers cannot come and tell the country why you just didn't choose, for example, economy-wide emission reduction as your targets in your NDC. And the second thing is that they can never assess the adequacy of your domestic actions, which means that you as a country, you choose a number of actions to implement in order to achieve your NDC. So the TER cannot come and tell you why you didn't, for example, think about renewable energies. That would be like a very, very helpful in terms of achieving your NDC. So they cannot have this kind of discussion, because all of this is part of the national sovereignty. The country has the ability to choose its actions, its NDC, its ambitions, etc. And also the final thing is that they cannot also evaluate if a party's decision to apply flexibility under the MPGs, which means if the country has already the capacities to submit that information, but they choose to apply flexibilities. So this is not also one of the scope. All right, now let's talk about the parts of the BTR that needs to be reviewed by the TER. The TER review the GG inventory chapter and information on NDC tracking. These are mandatory. For adaptation, it's just on voluntary basis for all of the countries. The third thing that is also mandatory is support provided for developed countries. And here we are talking about the support provided by developed countries, not developing countries. All right, we talked previously a lot about what kind of flexibilities, provisions that we can apply in preparing our BTR, our chapter of NIR, and our NDC tracking, etc. But we never talked before that flexibility provisions could be also applied in the review process. It's also taken into consideration 3 areas of flexibilities. The first one is related to the format of review. So a country may also undergo centralized review instead of in-country review. We will see what is the difference between both. So as a developing country, we can use flexibility and send an email to the UNFCCC saying that we choose the centralized review instead of in-country review. But of course, countries are encouraged to choose the first kind, which is in-country review. Regarding the timing of review process, here also we have 2 kinds of flexibilities. Flexibility in terms of providing answers to the first round of questions that we are going to receive from the TER team before the review week. So before the review week, we will receive some questions. Those questions, as if we want to apply flexibilities, we can answer within 3 weeks, compared to 2 weeks for other countries. If we don't want to apply flexibilities, we can send our answers within 2 weeks. The second thing is about receiving the draft of the reports, because the TER team, after the review week, they are drafting and they are preparing a draft reports, which is called technical expert reports. And then they will send that report to you, and you will need to send your comment on that draft. So for developing countries, they have flexibility to send those comments within 3 months after receiving the draft reports, in comparison with 1 month, which is applicable to other parties. The third thing is about communication of drafts areas of improvements. So as you know, the TER also will help developing countries in identifying also some capacity building needs in addition to the areas of improvement. All right, let's talk a little bit about criteria for composing a TER team. So TER team is composed by many experts, but we need to respect some criteria. The first one is the representation of LDCs and SIDs. So when we are talking about centralized review for BTRs from countries, LDCs and SIDs, the UNFCCC shall take into consideration including some experts from these countries. And also when it comes to the skills, which is obviously logical, so experts must have recognized competence in all of these areas that will be reviewed. And also they should cover all relevant sectors, including inventory, mitigation, support, cooperative approaches, if they are reporting on ITMOS under Article 6, and also LULUCF sector. The third thing is geographical origin or geographical balance. So the Secretariat need to respect geographical diversity and team selection. And language, at least one of the team members should speak the language of the party under review, which means, like, for example, for the majority of our countries, one of the team needs to speak Arabic. And balance between developed and developing countries. So they need also take into consideration to have some, or to respect some balance between developed and developing countries. And also when it comes to gender balance, so they need also to take into consideration to include some women and to respect the gender mainstreaming. Okay. So we talked already about in-country centralized review. Now, let me tell you something that we have 4 kinds of review. The first thing is in-country, centralized, disk review, and simplified review. So what is the difference between all of them? The first one, in-country review, it means that the TER team will be hosted in your home country. So they will visit you in your home country and do the review with you within 1 week. The centralized review is another kind, which means that the team will be hosted in one location, one country, for example, France or Germany or Egypt, and they will do the review for multiple BTRs. And for this kind, it can be chosen in terms of applying flexibility if the country doesn't really feel comfortable in hosting the TER team in its home country. This review, it means that when members of the TER team conduct the review remotely from their respective countries, for example, me from Morocco and Samir from Egypt and Menwar from Algeria, we are doing the review for several BTRs, but we are still in our home countries. The simplified review is actually when the Secretariat is conducting the review for one report of the inventory when the inventory is submitted alone. And here, when we talk about this option, we talk about developed countries, because developed countries, they are the only countries that need to submit and to report on GG inventory every year. So when can we apply or can the in-country review be applied? It can be applied for the first BTR. This is a requirement. But if we choose flexibility, we can, for example, choose the centralized review, but this flexibility is not provided to developed countries. At least 2 BTRs in 10 years period. For example, if we are talking about 10 years period, it means like 5 BTRs. So 2 of them needs to be conducted in-country review. Also, if recommended from the previous tier or requested by the party and the review. So if recommended, for example, in the technical expert review reports for the previous BTR. So you will need to conduct also your review in country. And when we talk about the BTRs that include information on the achievements of your NDC. And now we're talking about, for example, 2030 or 2035, because that would be the potential dates of achieving your NDC. So in this year, if you are reporting on this year, you cannot just choose other kind of review type, but you need to choose in-country review. When we talk about centralized review, as we already mentioned, it could be chosen under flexibility by developing countries, and also it's encouraged only for developing countries with limited capacities in terms of data availability, etc., etc. So for LDCs and SIDs, they can opt for group centralized reviews. So one TOR team reviews multiple BTR in one location. Disk review. Disk review cannot be conducted in a lot of situations. The first one, we cannot conduct this review not more than once every 5 years. And not for the first BTR or for BTRs, including information on updated NDC or achieved NDC. So for example, for the second BTR, which will include information on NDC 3.0, you cannot request disk review. Okay, and simplified review, as we mentioned previously, is that we are reviewing just the national inventory reports in years when no BTR is submitted. Okay, so this is the procedures and timeline for in-country centralized and desk review. So after the submission of the BTR, the UNFCCC will contact the party or the country to agree on dates, on the place, also within 14 weeks before the review week. And then a technical expert review team will be established within 10 weeks prior the review week. And then also the technical expert review team will send the first round of questions to the party 4 weeks before the week or the review week. So in this case, parties needs to answer those questions within 2 weeks, but with one additional week if we are applying flexibility. So we have 3 weeks to answer their questions. Then the team will come to the country, will do the review, and they will communicate on Friday some findings and some areas of improvement. After 2 months, you will receive the draft reports. That draft report is very important, and you need to pay a great attention to that because you need to provide your comments on that draft within 1 month. And if you are applying flexibility within 3 months, so you have 2 additional months. And then after that, the technical expert review team will draft the final report, which will be submitted in the UNFCCC portal. So here, as we mentioned previously, for the tier format for the BTR1, it needs to be conducted in-country review, but if you want to apply for flexibility, you can choose the second kind, which is centralized review. So 88 parties already submitted their BTRs by 31 December 2024. 31 December 2024, it is the deadline that was already mentioned for BTRs. From MENA, 5 countries submitted and respected that deadline. We're talking about Tunisia, Morocco, Algeria, Egypt, and Lebanon. And recently also Saudi Arabia just submitted their BTR and CRTs on March. So here, as you can see here, the majority of countries submitted their BTRs within the final 3 days leading up to the 31 December 2024, which is the deadline. So notably, we have between 30 and 31 December alone received 43 BTRs. So initially, the scheduling of technical expert review was based on one principle, which is first submitted, first reviewed. But it couldn't like much really because the UNFCCC received a lot of BTRs just in 2 days, between 3 and 31. This respecting that the UNFCCC cannot conduct more than 60 BTRs in this year. So during this year, between 50 and 60 BTRs will be reviewed. So this is the reason why that they had to think about some additional criteria or principles for scheduling the review. For example, BTRs with Red Plus Annex will have like a kind of priority. So here you can see the round or the steps of the tier process that will be conducted during this year. First batch was conducted from February to March. So already the UNFCCC reviewed 8 BTRs. Batch 2 is from April and May. So 20 reviews are scheduled. And then batch 3 from September to October, we have 8 already scheduled and up to 22 to be confirmed, which means that the UNFCCC will be able to like review between 20 to 30 reviews. And just one thing very important to highlight here, that even given the flexibility provided in choosing the kind of or the format of the review, just only 5 countries, developing countries, have chosen the centralized review format. So all of the countries, or let's say the majority of them, choose the in-country support, the in-country review. So to prepare for the review, here we have 2 kinds. The first kind, I think not really all countries know about this option, is the resubmission. So if you already submitted your BTR and you want to provide improved version for the report to be prepared for the review week, you can submit it. But if you want that report to be considered as your BTR, you need to submit it before 8 weeks before the review week. If you submit it just after, it will be just treated as additional information provided during the review. Otherwise, you need to prepare for the TER in providing some responses to the first round of questions, and then to be engaged with them during the review week, and also to provide additional informations and answers to other questions that may come after or during the review week. So to compose the TER team, the UNFCCC in 10 weeks before the TER week needs to check experts' availability through a survey, then form the TER team based on their availability, considering also any conflicts of interest. And once we selected the team, they will confirm by email and send official invitations. All this process within 10 weeks before your review week. All right, so the TER process involves 4 key actors with specific rules. For example, for parties, they need to cooperate in the BTR review process, respond to all questions from the technical expert review team, and also provide some information. Experts need to review the reported information in accordance with the NPGs, identify areas of improvement, and also develop the technical expert review reports and participate in the review week. For the UNFCCC Secretariat, they need to organize the TER team to facilitate communication, to edit the reports, and also to facilitate all annual lead reviewers meetings. And for the lead reviewers, they need to oversee the work of the TER team to ensure also if the TER are conducted in accordance with the MPGs, to ensure also the quality and the objectives of the TER, objectivity of the TER, also communicates and monitor and coordinates the preparation of the TER reports and give the priority to issues raised in the previous TER reports. So expectation from country parties in the technical expert review. When we talk about before the week or before the review week, you need to agree with the Secretariat on the dates of the review at least 14 weeks prior the dates, and agree on the format if you want to conduct it in country or also centralized. You need also to participate in the preparatory call with the Secretariat, and then coordinate internally to respond all questions that will be provided 4 weeks before the review week. Okay, so during the review week, you will need to be engaged with them to present in the first week, for example, on thematic areas in your BTR, to participate in their meetings, to continue to respond any questions and any additional information needed, and also to consider recommendations and encouragements identified by the technical expert review team. After the week, the review week, you will need to answer any remaining questions because even after the week, they may send you other questions. And also you will need also to provide your comments on the technical expert reports within 1 month or 3 months using flexibilities. You will need also to coordinate with the technical expert review team and the secretariat to finalize the reports, and also to take into consideration all the findings and the areas of improvements for further improvement of your subsequent and future BTRs. And of course, then it will come the third step, which is the FMCP, or Facilitative Multilateral Consideration of Progress. So this is the plan for the first year. As you can see, for the first batch, UNFCCC already started the review with Andorra, Guyana, and Panama because they submitted during 2024. And for European Union, Spain, Turkey, Slovakia, Sweden, they are under review. I think they already finished their review. So until now, we have only one report on the technical expert review submitted that you can access scanning the QR code here, and you can find all information in the BTR review newsletters. So until now, UNFCCC received 100 BTR, and 8 reviews were already completed, and 24 are in progress. And as I mentioned, only the report of Andorra is submitted. Okay, so about the updates on the TER teams engaged. So until now, we have 224 experts participating, with 32 technical teams composed and 32 parties already are being reviewed. So please make sure to take advantage from our climate transparency platform, which offers also an opportunity to ask your questions, interactions, comments, and recommendations. In the section Ask the Experts, you can access using the link above. And here also I put some of the links that could be useful for you, notably BTR review newsletters, and the UNFCCC website, and also their pages in LinkedIn. Okay, that's all from my side. Thank you very much. Over to you, Freya.
Sorry, I was muted. Thank you very much, Kaltoum, for providing that overview. So I guess now we have a bit of time for any questions that any of the participants may have on this. I know there was one submitted within the Q&A, so perhaps I can start with that first, and then feel free to raise your hand if you have any questions, or again, kind of submit them into the Q&A. So I'll just first go with the one that was submitted by, into the Q&A, which is the Q&A, sorry, which is how long does the TER occur after the BTR is submitted? Kaltoum, if you would like to take that,
How
please.
long after? Sorry, how long after?
How long does the TER occur? Like, how long after the BTR is submitted does the TER occur?
After the BTR submitted.
Mm-hmm.
So how long? It means that I just mentioned the scheduling of the TER. So it depends on some principles. First submitted BTR will conduct the TER as on the first place. But now, given that they received a lot of BTRs, so maybe for MENA, we will need to wait for the third batch, like from September to October, because we submitted like on 31. and Algeria on 30 December, and no country already submitted the Red Plus annexes. And Red Plus annex is one of the principles also to be selected to conduct the TER during this first year. Otherwise, we could also take into consideration that other countries will conduct the TER review week in the first months of 2026. So I think it depends on when and if you already submitted the Red Plus annex. And it depends on your focal points. If the UNFCCC focal points already received an email from the UNFCCC telling him that the TER team will start and that they need to agree on dates and everything, that's a good sign. It means that you will conduct your TER as soon as possible. Okay.
Thank you, Kaltoum. I can see a hand is raised. Nagla, if you would like to ask your question.
Okay, thank you very much, Kaltoum. Thank you for the presentation. Was very, very clear and very informative for this issue. Just a point for the finance. This process we need to finance step to step. What about the finance through this process?
I think what do you mean by financial financial supports? I think that the UNFCCC review, when they will come to your country, they will take in charge already all their expenses. So you are not expected to finance anything for this review, and that's it. So I don't think, and even for the TER experts, if you are one of the UNFCCC experts and you were invited, the UNFCCC will take you in charge and your DESA, your tickets and everything. Did I understood your question? Understand your question correctly?
Yeah, I think you answered Kaltoum. Thank you for that. I don't see any other hands raised or questions in the chat. There was one question related to when you'll have the materials, and we'll of course send these on after today's meeting. But I've actually just seen there is a question in the Q&A, Kaltoum, which is in French, so maybe you can take this one.
Si un pays a des experts qualifiés en review, peuvent-ils participer au processus de review de leur pays? If a country has an expert qualified for the review, if they can they participate to the review of their country? No, they cannot, because they need to take into consideration avoiding any conflicts of interest. So if you are from Algeria and you want to review your own BTR, you will not be able to do that, but they can call you to do the review for Tunisia or Morocco or Egypt or other countries, but for your own country, no. We have another question. Okay, it's in the chat, I guess. Does the country can choose the format of the TER, or does the UNFCCC Secretariat do it? The country can choose for this first BTR. For example, we already saw some requirements. So for in-country review, you need to do it as requirements for the first BTR, and for BTRs that include information on your NDC achievements. But as developing countries, we can use flexibility and ask them for a centralized review. But of course, we cannot choose it every time. So we have the right to choose 2 times in 10 years period. So for example, for 5 or 6 BTRs, we need to choose that process just only for 2 BTRs, no more. And for the disk review, it cannot be applied, for example, for BTRs, first BTRs. So for this year, we cannot have any disk review. And also for BTRs that include information on NDC achievements, which means, for example, in 2030 or 2035, it depends on the target year that you have in your NDC. And also it cannot be chosen for example, when you are updating your NDC and your BTR will include that information. So for example, when we talk about BTR number 2 for the majority, as all countries needs also to submit their NDC 3.0 during this year. So it means that in the second BTR, they cannot also choose the disk review. So only in country or a centralized review. And also for the centralized, we cannot use it every time, 2 times in 10 years. But as I mentioned previously, according to the updated data now, only 5 developing countries choose already the centralized review. So I'm really encouraging all countries to choose the in-country review, because it will be a very good exercise for you to train with the TER team. I hope it was enough as an answer.
Yeah, thank you, Kaltoum. I think you've managed to answer those questions really really well. I just now have noticed there's another hand raised.
Yes.
Said, go ahead.
Thank you, Freya. Thank you, Khaltoum. Just a quick question. When finishing the reviewing report, I mean, the team, when they finished the review, when it will it be I mean, submitted the report to be presented or available in the public domain? I mean, everyone can see this, the final report, and when this will happen? Thank you.
So for this, once you already conducted the review week, so first of all, the TER team will give you some first findings from that week, and then they will come back. They will send you the draft of the reports within 2 months after the TER week. Okay, so 2 months, and then you have 1 month to answer, to provide comments on that report. For example, if they are mentioning that you didn't mention that and you already did, so you need to comment on that to provide some additional information, this kind of discussion. So with using flexibilities, you can also provide your comments within 3 months after receiving the draft, the first draft of the report, which means we have 2 months of the report and then 3 months of the comments, and then they will come back to you with the final reports, I think 1 month after. So it means like six months after the TER week, or 4 months if you are not using flexibilities and you are going to provide your comments within 1 month after receiving the reports. Okay, so is that clear for you, Mr. Said?
Yes, very clear. Thank you so much, Khaltoum. Thank you.
Thanks to you. Thank you very much. So for now, I think Freya, we can move to the next session. We shall start with Samir.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Samir will now be sharing his experiences as a UNFCCC lead reviewer, and he's joining us on the call today. Samir, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you very much,
Perfect.
Freya. Thank you, Khaltoum. Thank you, Kitsiwi. Thank you, CBGSP, for the invitation and for this very important webinar. I think all the countries in our region need to have the experience and to be ready for the review process, because we have not used to have our reports reviewed unless the country's request. But from now, our report will be reviewed. I have some slides. I would like to share my screen, if you
Okay.
allow me, please.
Yeah, of course. Go ahead, please, Mr. Samir.
I hope you can see my presentation and my presentation now, my screen.
Yeah, it's good. We can see it.
Okay.
So we have some questions for you, Mr. Samir, for this sharing experience. Based on your experience, the first question is, let me just share. Yes, based on your experience as UNFCCC lead reviewer, what were the most frequent issues you encountered in previous submission of viewers from developing countries? Because I understand that you are invited to do the review for France in the second batch. Thank you very much, Samir.
No, not France, it's other country. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay. Please allow me to switch to Arabic in order to give some highlights and some messages on the issues that answer the questions of the webinar here. If you don't mind, we'll switch to Arabic, please. يعني اسمحوا لي مرة أخرى يعني إن أنا يعني أشكر المنظمين على هذه الجلسة المهمة جدا اللي بتخلينا إحنا نكون جاهزين في دولنا لموضوع المراجعة اللي إحنا مش متعودين عليه الحقيقة. إحنا في دولنا تقاريرنا لا تراجع أو لم تكن تراجع، لكن من الآن فصاعدا تقاريرنا سوف تراجع، فبالتالي إحنا محتاجين إن إحنا نكون جاهزين. بعض الموضوعات اللي كانت مهمة جدا في أثناء المراجعات البي او ار، لأن أنا يعني ما شاركتش في البي تي ار لغاية دلوقتي. أنا مدعو من سكرتارية الاتفاقية إن أنا كليد ريفيور للبي تي ار لإحدى الدول. اهم حاجه موضوع الجرين هاوس جاز انفنتوري او حصر الانبعاثات. ضمن المشاكل اللي احنا بنشوفها في حصر الانبعاثات البيانات، دايما في نقص في البيانات في معظم الدول. يعني حتى احنا لما كنا بنعمل تقارير البلاغات الوطنيه كدول ناميه اندر الكونفنشن، عندنا مشكله في البيانات، عندنا مشكله في الدقه في استخدام المنهجيات والميشن فاكتورز والاكتيفيتي داتا وكل الكلام ده، وكلنا عارفين الكلام دوت وكلنا بنواجه هذه المشاكل. الكونسيستنسي، عدم وجود منهجيات متسقه عبر سنوات اعداد التقرير. يعني ببدا التقرير من 1990 لغايه سنه اصدار الحصر، بيكون في اختلاف في البيانات، وبالتالي بضطر ان انا استخدم ميثودولوجيز مختلفه حسب البيانات. الترانسبيرنسي او الشفافيه، عدم كفايه توثيق البيانات او مصادر البيانات والافتراضات اللي انا بستخدمها والمنهجيات المستخدمه. ايضا الانسرتينتي، موضوع الانسرتينتي ده فيه مشكله برضه، في ضعف او غياب القياس الكمي اللي هو الكوانتيفيكيشن. الام بي جي طبعا طلبت ان الدول اللي تكون بتحط كوانتيفايد uncertainty assessment، واذا هتستخدم فلكسبيليتي فانت تحط الكوانتيفيكيشن لسنه الاساس والسنه على الاقل السنه اللي هي التارجت يير. فمحتاجين طبعا ان احنا نكون عندنا خبرات في هذا المجال. الميتيجيشن اكشنز طبعا في بعض المشاكل اللي بنواجهها برضو عدم التحديد وصف عام للاجراءات بدون اهداف واضحه او جداول زمنيه او مؤشرات للميتيجيشن اكشنز. الكوانتيفيكيشن اللي هو التحديد القياس الكمي للميتيجيشن اكشن وتاثيره في خفض الانبعاثات. الابلاغ عن التقدم المحرز في الميتيجيشن اكشنز برضو من ضمن الموضوعات اللي بيكون فيها ضعف في التقارير. الدعم المطلوب، طبعا الدعم المطلوب او الدعم اللي تم استلامه برضو من بعض المشاكل بيكون في عدم وضوح للدعم المقدم. يعني يكون في وصف مبهم للاحتياجات الماليه والتكنولوجيه وبناء القدرات. موضوع الدعم ده مهم جدا يا جماعه، لان احنا كدول ناميه لغايه فتره قريبه لم نكن ملزمين بتقديم هذه التقارير. طيب احنا دلوقتي التقارير دي حسب الام بي جي ان مراجعه هذه التقارير يجب ان تحترم سياده الدوله، لا تتدخل في قرارات الدوله. يعني لا فريق المراجعين اللي بيروح يراجع مش من حقه ان هو يقول للدوله انتوا استخدمتوا ده ليه وما استخدمتوش ده ليه وما استخدمتوش الابروتش ده ليه. لا، دي حاجه اسمها سياده الدوله. وموضوع المراجعه ليست اجراءات عقابيه. الدوله لها سياده يجب ان تحترم، بدايه من فريق المراجعين ومن سكرتاريه الاتفاقيه. ما حدش يتدخل في سياده الدوله. دي سياده الدوله، احنا يجب ان تحترم. فالدعم ده مهم جدا، ان هو بيحدد عمليه المراجعه بتحدد الكاباسيتي بيلدينج نيدز. انا محتاج ايه علشان احسن من جوده التقارير. فبالتالي لازم يكون عندي وصف واضح للاحتياجات التكنولوجية والاحتياجات المالية وبناء القدرات. في صعوبة في الربط بين الدعم المتلقى اللي يتم استلامه والإجراءات والنتائج المبلغ عنها. في فجوة في المعلومات، تقارير بتكون غير كاملة عن الدعم المتلقى فعليا. غالبا بيكون الموضوع الدعم ده مرتبط بوزارات أخرى في داخل الوزارة، وزارة مثلا التخطيط او وزاره التعاون الدولي. بتكون فيها هي المعلومات الخاصه بالسبورت ريسيف. موضوع الشفافيه والوضوح في التقارير. هيكل التقرير نفسه يعني كل ما كان التقرير هيكل التقرير واضح، ده بيخلي عمليه المراجعه سهله. وفي ستاندردز متعارف عليها دوليا من الخبرات مراجعة تقارير الدول الصناعية. بيكون في تيبل اوف كونتنتس للتقرير، بتكون واضحة ومتعارف عليها دوليا، بحيث بيكون معروف المعلومة الفلانية أنا ألاقيها فين في التقارير. اللغة والمصطلحات اللي بيتم استخدامها طبعا في بعض الأحيان بيكون بعض المصطلحات غير متسقة، وفي بعض المشاكل في الشروحات. عدم الاستجابه للجايد لاينز بقى دي مهمه جدا. يعني احنا دلوقتي الستاندرد اللي احنا بنمشي عليه في اعداد التقارير هي الام بي جي. علشان فريق المراجعين لما هيجي لي يراجع عندي ان كانتري او سنترلايز، لما يجي يريز اي كومنت او يعمل فايندنجز معين، لازم يريفرنس لام بي جي باراجراف، فيقول لي ان الام بي جي في باراجراف كذا قال ان التقرير يشمل كذا، والتقرير بتاعك ما فيهوش كذا. فهو المرجع بتاعنا انا كدولة وهو كفريق مراجعين هو الام بي جي. فبالتالي الالتزام بالام بي جي او بالجايد لاينز ده مهم جدا. التحضير الشامل للوثائق طبعا ده الكويستشن الثاني اللي هو اسمحي لي يعني يا كلثوم، ان السؤال الثاني ان هو ايه هي الاجراءات. الشاشة بس مدارية على ازاي الدول في منطقتنا تتحضر جيدا لعملية المراجعة. التحضير الجيد قبل المراجعة بيشمل تحضير شامل للوثائق. إعداد تقارير البي تي ار بيلزمها يكون كل البيانات اللي أنا أدركتها في التقرير لها مصدر. والمصادر دي بتختلف، ممكن تكون استراتيجيات وطنية، خطط عمل، مشروعات، قرارات وزارية، والعديد من المراجع. فأنا لازم أكون محضر كويس جميع الأقسام الخاصة في التقرير، وما جاء فيها من بيانات يجب أن يكون لها مصدر. إعداد وثائق أساسية مفصلة، وتحديد مصادر البيانات والمنهجيات والافتراضات اللي أنا استخدمتها في التقرير. استخدمت الاي بي سي سي ميثودولوجي في مثلا حسابات السوليد ويست مثلا، أو الميونيسيبال سوليد ويست. فبفترض ان انا مكان انا استخدمت تير 1 ولا تير 2، استخدمت الميشن فاكتور الفلاني طبقا لتوافر البيانات. فلازم يكون عندي الكلام ده مسجل وبشكل منظم. تنظيم الوثائق منطقيا وجعلها في متناول فريق المراجعة بسهولة. طبعا قبل المراجعة بكون أنا مجهز الوثائق دي بشكل إلكتروني، لأن بيتم إرسالها لفريق المراجعين. والفريق الوطني المشرف على او اللي بيتابع موضوع اعداد التقرير بيكون احنا الاثنين بنستعمل نفس مصدر المعلومات علشان يبقى الموضوع سهل للفريق الوطني وسهل للفريق المراجعين. لما اكون محتاج حاجه ارجع لها بقول مثلا ان استراتيجيه التغيرات المناخيه موجوده في الفولدر الفلاني باسم الملف كذا، يبقى احنا متفقين احنا الاثنين على مصدر واحد من المعلومات. طبعا تشكيل فريق عمل منظم ده مهم جدا علشان موضوع المراجعه، عشان اجهز نفسي للمراجعه لازم احدد الكي بيرسونيل او مين مسؤول عن ايه. يعني انا عندي في تقارير البي تي ار معروف الشابترز بتاعته معروفه، الناشونال سيركمستانسز مثلا في الجرين هاوس جاز انفنتوري، الجرين هاوس جاز انفنتوري في سيكتورز معينه، في الطاقه، في العمليات الصناعيه، في الافولو اللي هو الزراعه والاستخدامات الاراضي والغابات، وفي الويست. فلازم اكون عندي عارف مين مسؤول عن هذا القطاع، لان هؤلاء الافراد لو انا هعمل ان كانتري ريفيو بيتم دعوتهم حسب طلب فريق المراجعين. لو فريق المراجعين عنده استفسارات خاصه بحصر الانبعاثات من الاف جازز مثلا من العمليات الصناعيه في اطار الغازات الفلورونيه، فانا لازم يكون عندي خبراء الاف جازز اجيبهم بالاتفاق مع فريق المراجعين في خلال اسبوع المراجعه، ويجوا يعملوا ميتنج مع فريق المراجعين ويسالوهم الاسئله اللي هم عاوزينها، ويكونوا محضرين نفسهم بالاجابات علشان عمليه المراجعه تتم بشكل سلس وبشكل بسيط. طبعا التاكد من فهم اعضاء الفريق جيدا لمجالات عملهم وارشادات اللي هي الام بي جي. فريق المراجعين، الفريق الوطني المسؤول عن اعداد التقرير، يجب ان يكون فاهم عمليه المراجعه بشكل واضح، ان في عندي ام بي جي، والام بي جي دي بتقول ان انا اعمل التقرير بالشكل الفلاني. فبالتالي لو انا عندي خبير من قطاع الزراعه فلازم يكون فاهم ان تقرير البي تي ار يجب ان يشتمل على كذا وكذا وكذا من قطاع الزراعه، عشان لما يجي يقعد مع فريق المراجعين، فريق المراجعين لما يساله لو هو شاطر وعارف وفاهم الام بي جي كويس هيقول له ده مش موجود في الام بي جي. يبقى احنا كده انت بتسال سؤال مش موجود في الام بي جي. انا ممكن اجاوبك بس ده يعني يعني ده حاجه يعني ذوقيا او فضلا من الدوله اللي بيتم مراجعتها. لكن لو السؤال خارج عن اطار الستاندرز او الام بي جيز او الجايد لاينز، انت كدوله من حقك تقول انا مش هجاوب على السؤال ده مش موجود في الام بي جي. تعيين جهة تنسيق رئيسية أو فوكال بوينت علشان تكوردينيت بقى الموضوع، التنسيق بين اليوني اف سي 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 والدولة، التنسيق بين الفريق المراجعين والدولة. لازم يكون في كونتاكت بيرسون أو فوكال بوينت للموضوع، وده طبعا بيكون شخص واحد بيحدده الفوكال بوينت، سواء هو الفوكال بوينت نفسه او مثلا الجرين هاوس جاز انفنتوري كوردينيتور او الكوردينيتور بتاع البي تي ار كله او الكونسلتنسي فيرم اللي الدوله بتحدده علشان يكون هو في تواصل مع الفريق المراجعين. توقع الاسئله المحتمله، انا عملت تقرير البي تي ار وعندي ضعف في مثلا قطاع الافولو على سبيل المثال، فانا متوقع ان انا هيجي لي اسئله على هذا القطاع، اجهز الاجابات، اقول انا ما عنديش كاباسيتي او ما عنديش قدرات ان انا اغطي هذا الموضوع بشكل 100%، لكن انا شغال على هذا الموضوع في خلال مرحله الامبروفمنت، لان تقرير البي تي ار لازم يشمل جزء امبروفمنت اللي هو جزء تحسين التقرير. فاجراء مراجعه ذاتيه للتقرير، دي مراجعه ذاتيه دي بتكون مراجعه داخليه داخل الدوله. في الزميله سالت سؤال ردت عليه كلثوم وقالت هل انا كخبير اقدر اراجع تقرير بلدي؟ لا، ده كونفليكت اوف انترست، او ده يعني ما ينفعش حسب المعايير المتعارف عليها. لكن تقدري تراجعي التقرير وطنيا من خلال تشكيل فريق يتم مراجعة التقرير بشكل وطني علشان اقدر اطلع التعليقات اللي انا متوقعها انها تجيلي من فريق المراجعين الدولي. وتجهيز الاجابات، طبعا كل ما بجهز الاجابات على الاسئله المتوقعه ده بيوفر وقت وبيوفر جهد كتير. تعزيز التواصل المفتوح والشفاف، طبعا الاستعداد لتقديم تفسيرات واضحه وموجزه ردا على الاسئله. انت ما عملتش مثلا الحصر انبعاثات في، او ما استخدمتش مثلا، ليه ما عملتش ابجريدنج للتيرز اللي انت مستخدمها في الصناعه، مثلا صناعه الاسمنت. انت عندك صناعه الاسمنت دي ده كي كاتيجوري، او ده مصدر انبعاثات الرئيسي. انت لغايه دلوقتي بتستعمل تير 1 اللي هي الديفولت، اللي هي اقل جوده من في الاي بي سي تيرز. انت عندك بيانات وعندك ريسورسز وعندك كاباسيتي، ولغايه دلوقتي بتستعمل تير 1. ما بتعملش ليه ابجريد لتير 2؟ ارد بقى، لازم ارد، يكون عندي رد ورد مقنع. الحفاظ على روح بناءه وتعاونيه طوال عمليه المراجعه. لازم الفريق المراجعين هيسال اسئله كتير، وممكن يكون يسال اسئله تفصيليه، وممكن تكون الاجابه موجوده في التقرير، لكن عشان التقرير كبير جدا وفريق المراجعين ما قدرش مثلا ان هو يقرا كل التقرير، فانا برد عليه بشكل لطيف، ان انا يعني ايه، راجع التقرير صفحه كذا. يكون في روح بناءه وتعاونيه طوال عمليه المراجعه. الانفتاح على الاعتراف بالقيود ومناقشه مجالات التحسين. اقول والله الجزء ده ضعيف عندي وانا شغال على تحسينه. الترتيبات اللوجستيه، طبعا لو انا هعمل ان كانتري ريفيو لازم اوفر مكان مناسب لفريق المراجعين. هعمل المراجعه دي في وزاره البيئه، يبقى لازم اوفر لهم قاعه مخصصه لفريق المراجعين، قاعه مخصصه منفصله، لان فريق المراجعين هيجتمع بممثلي الدوله، وممكن يعملوا برزنتيشن في اليوم الاولاني، وهيجتمعوا بفريق الحصر الانبعاثات، وهيجتمعوا بفريق الان دي سي، وهيجتمعوا حسب الاجنده. معظم الوقت يكونوا منغلقين على نفسهم، باب مقفول، وقاعدين بيشتغلوا بيحللوا التقرير وبيراجعوا وهكذا. لازم يكون في مكان مناسب، هذا المكان يكون متوفر فيه طبعا كل الفاسيلتيز المطلوبه، طبعا اللي هي لازم يكون في انترنت كونكشن كويس، مش ضعيف وما بيقطعش وما بي الكهرباء ما بتقطعش، لو الكهرباء قطعت ممكن يكون في حل بديل. لازم يكون في الترتيبات اللي هي مكان هادي ما فيهوش ازعاج، بعيد عن، يعني في ترتيبات معينه لازم تكون متوفره لو انا هعمل ان كانتري ريفيو. طبعا الدعم اللوجستي، لو الدولة مثلا بتقدم تقاريرها باللغة مختلفة عن اللغة الإنجليزية، لازم يكون في ترجمة، أو في حد يكون، لو في مثلا الفريق في الدولة ما بيتكلمش اللغة الإنجليزية، لازم يكون في مثلا مترجم في مثل هذه الحالات، لكن دي بتبقى يعني حالات نادرة. الجلسه التدريبيه على المستوى الداخلي بقى، قبل ما اعمل تدريب اعمل حاجه اسمها موك ريفيو. بجيب كده، بشكل فريق من خبراء ما شاركوش في اعداد التقرير، وبجيب الخبراء اللي شاركوا في اعداد التقرير، ونعمل كده زي موك ريفيو، ان الفريق اللي ما شاركش في اعداد التقرير ده بيمثل الفريق الدولي، ويبتدوا هما الاثنين، الفريق اللي هو الخبراء اللي هو ما اشتركش في اعداد التقرير يراجع التقرير بشكل فني، ويطلع بعض التعليقات، ويكون فريق الإعداد التقرير مسؤول عن الرد عن هذه التعليقات. دي بنقول عليها موك ريفيو، يعني زي جلسة محاكاة لعملية المراجعة، ودي بتكون مفيدة جدا الحقيقة، بس طبعا بتستلزم وجود القدرات الكافية في الدولة. فهم عملية المراجعة والجدول الزمني، ده مهم جدا. موضوع الجدول الزمني ده مهم جدا. السكرتارية لما بتتواصل مع الدولة علشان تحدد ميعاد الريفيو ويتفق عليه، بيتحط جدول زمني. الجدول الزمني ده هنبتدي البريليمينري كويستشن امتى، اللي هي الأسئلة اللي قبل المراجعة، وهتاخد وقت قد ايه في الرد، وبعد كده الرد لما يجي لنا الفريق المراجعة هيحلل الردود دي، وبعد كده ممكن يعمل تعليقات تانية. قبل الريفيو ويك هنعمل ايه، وخلال الريفيو ويك بيكون في اجنده او جدول اعمال للريفيو ويك، اليوم الاول والثاني والثالث والرابع والخامس، هم بيبقوا 5 ايام. خلال الريفيو ويك هنعمل ايه، وبعد الريفيو ويك هنعمل ايه، من هنا لغايه ما التقرير يتنشر. فلازم في مخطط زمني، يجب الالتزام بهذا الجدول والاحترام المواعيد، ده مهم جدا. السؤال الثالث بقى يعني بيتكلم عن ايه هي امتيازات او مزايا المشاركه المبكره في عمليه المراجعه. طبعا التحديد المبكر للمشاكل والثغرات. المشاركه المبكره بتمثل يعني من خلال المشاورات وورش العمل بتساعد في تحديد المشاكل والثغرات المحتملة في مسودة التقرير قبل تقديمه بشكل رسمي. وده بيتيح فرصة لمعالجة هذه المشاكل. تحسين فهم متطلبات التقرير ده بيمكن للتفاعل المبكر مع المراجعين أو أمانة الاتفاقية. ده بيعزز فهم الفريق الوطني لإرشادات وتوقعات إعداد تقارير الشفافية، وده من شأنه إن هو يمنع أي سوء فهم. يعني ده في دول بتعمل الموضوع ده قبل تقديم التقرير، وفي دول بيكون عندها مزنوقة في الوقت فبتقدم التقرير وبعد كده بتعمل الإجراءات دي بعد ما تقدم التقرير، وبيكون عندها فرصة إنها تعمل ريسبميشن أو تعمل إعادة تسليم للنسخة مجودة أكثر من التقرير. تحسين جودة ودقة التقرير، معالجة المشاكل المحتملة مبكرا بشكل ملحوظ بيساعد في جودة التقرير، وده بيسهم في ان عملية المراجعة الرسمية بتكون اكثر ايجابية وفاعلية، وبيقلل من الاخطاء او الفايندنجز اللي فريق المراجعين بيكتشفها. يعني على سبيل المثال حاجات بسيطة بنلاحظها، بعض الحاجات التايبو مثلا، الحاجات اللي هي الاخطاء الاملائية، بيكون مثلا السي ار تي مثلا فيها رقم، والان اي ار اللي هو ناشونال انفنتوري دوكيمنت فيها رقم مختلف، فبيكون في يعني اختلافات بسيطه في ديسكريبنسي بين السي ار تي وبين الان اي ار. فلو انا بعمل مراجعه مبكره قبل ما اقدم التقرير، ده بيساعد في تفادي هذه الاخطاء البسيطه. بناء الثقة وتسهيل عملية المراجعة بتكون بشكل أكثر سلاسة. المشاركة المبكرة طبعا ده التزام بيبرز التزام الدولة بالشفافية، وبيسهل تسهل بناء علاقة تعاونية وبناء مع فريق المراجعة ومع السكرتاري، وده بيسهم فيه إن عملية المراجعة بتكون أكثر سلاسة. بناء القدرات ونقل المعرفة. عملية المراجعة يا جماعة يعني هي في الأساس هي بتكون عملية learning by doing، وبتكون accumulated experience احنا بنكتسبها كدولة او حتى كفريق مراجعين. في كل مرة بتراجع تقرير بتلاقي كيسز مختلفة، بتلاقي مشاكل مختلفة، فانت كمراجع بتكتسب خبرة، وانت كدولة قيد المراجعة او تحت المراجعة بتكتسب خبرة في مشكله مثلا في السي تي اف تيبلز مثلا او السي ار تي تيبلز مثلا. يبقى انا عندي مشكله في التول اللي بتعمل القصه دي، اللي بتجنريت القصه دي، عندي مشكله في الاي بي سي سوفت وير، لا ده الاي بي سي سوفت وير محتاج كذا علشان يطلع الموضوع الفلاني. كل هذه الليرنينج باي دوينج او كل هذه المشاكل اللي بتحصل والمواقف اللي بتحصل بتكسب الفريق خبره بحيث يتفاداها في المره اللي بعديها او في التقرير اللي بعده. واحنا معانا تقارير البي تي ار دي يعني ما شاء الله يعني ماشيه معانا لكام سنه كمان قدام يعني. فبناء القدرات ونقل المعرفه ده بيتيح التفاعلات المبكره ويدي فرصه قيمه لبناء القدرات ونقل المعرفه والاستفاده من تجارب ورؤى المراجعين، بتعزز نظام اعداد التقارير على المدى الطويل. لان كل ما يكون عندي خبرات متراكمه بيكون بحسن في نظام اعداد التقارير، فالتقرير بيصدر بشكل مور سيستماتيك وبشكل مور سموث بشكل اكتر. تخفيف العبء اثناء المراجعه الرسميه، كل ما كانت مشاكل اقدر احلها بشكل مسبق بتفادى ان انا اتعرض لاسئله خلال عمليه المراجعه. ده بيدي طبعا اشاره ايجابيه للمجتمع الدولي ان الدوله بتكون دوله ذات مصداقيه وملتزمه باتفاق باريس، والدول يعني الدول الكبيره المحترمه ذات السياده طبعا بتلتزم بالتزاماتها وما تصدق عليه من اتفاقيات دوليه. وانا دي كانت اخر سلايد، واشكركم جزيلا على حسن الاستماع. Thank you very much for the time and thank you once again for the CBGSP and for all participants for giving me this opportunity to share some experience with you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Samir. I think before we move on to any questions or discussion on this, I might ask our second reviewer to show his presentation. So Manuel, if you're on the line, it'd be great to hear from you as well. And Manuel
good morning. Good morning, Freya. I'm online. I will
morning.
share it. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah. Oh, Khartoum, you're muted.
We have 3 questions for you, Dr. Manwar. How should countries take the MPGs into account when preparing their BTR and NIR? And how is the technical expert review conducted based on these guidelines? And what would you say is the biggest challenge countries faced during their first TR, and how can they proactively address it? The third question is, what advice would you give to national experts in the MENA region who may be interested in becoming UNFCCC reviewers themselves in the future? Thank you very much.
Thank you to all. I'm very happy to be here, also to share our experience during the review. First of all, I would like just to thank SPIT for this invitation. My presentation, probably I will, to avoid any repetition with what Samir said, by the way, we are both reviewers and we are sharing same experience. I will just like to add that last week I conducted with a colleague the first review of I think in Africa. This is the second one of Côte d'Ivoire. So I will share also the experience again there during that review. My presentation, of course, will be around the 3 questions you raised, Khartoum. Thank you for that. On the challenges, of course, during the first TR in particular, related to the MPGs and
Mr. Manwar, sorry to interrupt you. Could you please put your screen full screen? Could you put your presentation in full screen? Yeah. Thank you.
Done. Sorry. And then I will share some good practices in dealing with the review, and finally the advice for the newcomers in the review process. When it comes to the challenges, the main challenges, I will not repeat what Samir said, but just maybe add some compliments to that. I think that to apply the MPGs, usually the national experts might not have full understanding of what is behind each paragraph of the MPGs. Because this is the first experience, they are more involved. They used to be more involved in the IPCC guidelines, but there are many new elements, let's say, in the MPGs, such as flexibility, for example, how to apply flexibilities. The word flexibility, I think, is not well understood in the context of MPGs. It should be. This is just to say that this is the first time, and maybe parties didn't have enough time to do everything. That's why among the big, let's say, challenges is the good understanding of the MPGs, and it will come with time, of course. And how to implement. This is not, let's say, a theoretical understanding, but a real understanding how to implement it. Globally, I listed here some challenges. When it comes to the organization and the planning, the review activities, it's not only in terms of a plan, a timeline, but also the activities to be conducted before the review, during the review, and after the review, not for or with the reviewers, it's among the group, the team, the national team. And usually it is a real challenge because national experts are also busy doing other things. How to have time to work dedicated to the preparation of the review. I think this is a big challenge for different countries. I went, and I think it should be well prepared through the availability of the experts, because usually parties have national experts, I mean, from different institutions involved in the team, but they do have also external experts and other stakeholders. If the national team, let's say the compilers are within any agency or ministry or whatever, the external experts are more difficult to get, and even the stakeholders, other sectoral stakeholders. How to ensure that all the people are around the table or available during, before, and after the review to respond to questions and to provide more information and activity data or documentation or whatever in response to while interacting with the review team. Also, other challenges is it's about the communication tools used by UNFCCC. This is critical. I think this is for the first time for developing countries. They will use the IVTR and the VTR, which are both tools online. Samir raised the issue of internet connection. So if there is no good connection, it will be hard to work with IVTR and VTR. People will suffer because this is the only way to communicate, to respond, to get access to the questions raised by the experts, by the reviewers, I mean, and also to respond, to upload documents and so on. So the challenge is how to master the tool. So my advice is for national teams is to get familiar with the tool before. It's not a week, maybe months before, to master the tool, so it will be easy to use it and to communicate with it with the review team and the UNFCCC. Maybe last but not least, it's the language used. I'm not referring to the English language as general as a language, but about the technical words, the jargon used. The questions will be written in a certain format with their own keywords. There is specific language used during communication with the party in the questions raised. So usually it is challenging for countries because there is misunderstanding. Let's take an example of flexibility, for example, about documentation, references, etc. So this is in written, even if in country review we can use other languages such French, Arabic, or Spanish, or UN languages are used, but the written language is English. So it is a sort of barrier to communicate. And what I noticed is the use of Google Translator or any other tool, translation tool. So be aware about that, because sometimes there's some mistranslated words, and which is, let's say, an issue when it comes to the good understanding and communication with the RT. The review process, Samir talked about that. I will just add that if there is a good QAQC, so the challenge is lack, usually, of QAQC at the level of the party. So if the report, the BTR or an ID or CRT or CTF are not QC or QA, So this will ensure, if it's conducted in advance, will ensure good quality of the report, and all issues will be raised. So the national experts are aware about the big issues in advance before the review, so they are ready to reply. These are main challenges I selected for this meeting. Of course, there are others, but I think the big ones are here. I will move to some good practices learned from the different reviews, in-country reviews, and also centralized reviews that we conducted, and from also the last week review we conducted in Côte d'Ivoire. This one, it's about if a country has conducted already a QE, what Samir called mock QA or mock review. Between bracket, I put the UNFCCC QA, which is provided by GAG support unit. I think that most countries which benefited from this kind of QA from UNFCCC were ready enough to conduct the review, because they conducted with UNFCCC a mock review or QA review of their inventory or report. Secondly, it's also a mock, but I'm referring here to review simulation. So it's a good exercise, even if it's not 100% review, but it is sort of simulation. So the national experts will be prepared for the review. And this has been done by many countries, and we learned a lot from that. They did good following this simulation, this QA for their report. The third good practice is a retreat. So Samir raised the issue of good conditions, good environment when it comes to in-country review. The good practice made by some is a full retreat of all national experts, stakeholders with reviewers, and far from their institutions and fully focused on the review. This is a good practice, I think, which could be done by other countries as well. The other lesson is about the additional documents, and to provide documents or share tools, activity data used, calculation sheets, etc. during or before the review. This will help a lot the reviewers and even the national experts to identify issues and to learn better and more during the review. If there is any issue of confidentiality, it is included. So just raise that, and because the experts will sign a confidentiality document to keep everything confidential, whatever it is. Just share that, but feel free to, in transparent manner, to interact with the reviewers. It's beneficial for both parties. I think for reviewers to make their report, but also it will, in return, benefit to the party if all issues are raised and recommendations are made how to deal and to address these issues. So some good practices learned from different countries here. And now I will move to some advice to the newcomers. The first thing I think to be really understood by the newcomers or the experts willing to come to the process, this is a voluntary process. It's not a job. It's not a paid job. UNFCCC will, in case of in-country or centralized review, will pay only support to travel and daily expenses, that's all. I think it's good to know to be transparent at this level. The second let's say advice. So people who wants it's not a job to make money. That's what I'm telling you here. But secondly, it's very useful to be a UNFCCC expert because you will gain a lot on the technical expertise, capacities. Of course, it's learning process, but also it's networking. It's networking around all the world, developed countries, technical companies. You will meet various kind of people turning around, let's say, the greenhouse gases and now NDCs, etc., which is very helpful. You will learn a lot and you will enhance your capacities about that. When it comes to the know-how transfer, Samir explained that enough. I will just to add that this is the way to ensure the know-how transfer to different parties at the national level is through you as a national experts participating everywhere in reviewing countries. You will learn from different cases, and probably there's something to consider for your country or company or whatever. So this is at the national level, but also at the local level or the level of companies, sectors, etc. And this will allow you to participate in the national process or the international process to not only prepare the different reports, but also to be a QA/QC or a review, let's say, sort of national reviewer, but you will participate a lot in the QA/QC process. So this is all what I wanted to share right now. I'm very sorry, it's short, but I try to make my best for that. If there's any question, I will be glad to respond because I'm attending another meeting, another workshop here. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Manouer. I can't see any questions in the chat or the QA, but do any participants have any questions for either Samir or Manouer?
Magilda. Mahmoud from Egypt. Please go ahead, Mahmoud.
Yes, Muhammad from Egypt.
Muhammad, sorry.
How are you?
Alhamdulillah, كيفك?
Alhamdulillah, كويس. Actually, I have one question regarding to comparability in the GHG inventory. This principle, does it refer to the ability to compare the national reports between countries or just check internal consistency of the report? As I wondered when I see the multi-countries reports where the emission is a greenhouse gas emission based on a fiscal year, while other countries report on a calendar year. So how can we handle this? They report on different time frame. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mohammed. Mr. Menwar or Samir, would you like to answer?
Okay. I think this is not an issue. It's allowed by the rules, the guidelines, and there are some possibilities to align. It's up to the experts to use that. So this is really not an issue, but usually they are using the fiscal year. Usually the reporting, based on our experience, very few countries are reporting a fiscal year.
Sorry, Mr. Menwar, we can't hear you clearly. Mr. Samir, go ahead.
Yes, I agree to what Manouer said, and I think it's not a big issue because we face that on the national level. the problem with data provision in a physical year base and on a calendar year base. We can overcome that issue by getting as much as possible the data for 2 years from the physical year, the second half of the physical year and the first half of the next physical year, and this as one calendar year. I think the main issue is the data provision, the data availability. This is the main. But once the data is available, I think it's not a big problem.
Okay. Thank you very much, Samir.
Thank you very much. But my question is the principle of the comparability is mean to how to compare between two country reports. If they report on a fiscal year and another country report on a calendar year. So they not report in the same basis.
Mr. Samir or Mr. Munawar, do you want to answer the question of Mr. Mohammed?
Okay, I said it's not a big issue because when it comes to comparability, we compare the totals, okay, among countries. In case we can harmonize, so the comparability, it's more about if the data are there, as Samir said. So if we want, in case we want to compare for one reason or another, we can use the data, we can apply, we can use the data, okay, monthly or annually. So to harmonize, okay, if it's, let's say, if it's a physical year, we can harmonize that, we can make it. So it's up to us to make it and to make it comparable with the calendar year. That's why I'm telling you, there are not many who are reporting on this. When I say it's not a big issue, because there are, most of countries are using calendar year. In case there is one country reporting using physical year, so we have to deal with that. In case we need to compare, because we are not systematically doing comparisons among countries, that's the compilation of at the level of all countries done by the UNFCCC. So they are considering that. But during the review, because here we are talking about only the review, in case we need to compare, let's say, emissions from one country in a particular sector with another one, we will make it. It's up to us as expert to do it, to make calculation for that, and to compare at the end of the day, and to see if, keep in mind that comparisons are very, very specific, but to not take too much time.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Menwar. We have four hands. Mr. Saeed, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Kaltoum. Thank you, Dr. Samir, Dr. Manur. Thank you so much for these presentations and for your feedback. My question is, from what you have already reviewed from the reports, the BTR reports that you have already looked at, and you reviewed and you submit your responses, could you give us some sort of a general overview of your observations on what actually is lacking these BTRs, especially from those countries submitted from Arab countries or developing countries? Very broad, very general wise, thoughts and observations. The second question, it's a general question, Kaltoum. Before submitting the BTRs, as I am aware of, that there was many workshops to upskill the countries in writing the BTRs. So how do you see do you think that the countries in the MENA region, they are really have used those workshops technique effectively, and really the submitted reports shows that the level of these BTRs are really as expected from the Secretariat. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Okay,
very much, Mr.
I
Sam.
will start.
Yeah, go
Kulthum,
ahead.
I will start, and when I ask Samir to add. I will start with the first question. I will leave to you, Kulthum, for responding to the second question. When globally, what's missing? I mean, in this first BTRs, I think all countries, most developing countries, not all of them, of course, are more focusing on the inventory because they used to make it, they do have experience in that, but what's lacking a lot, and it's part of the MPGs, it's about QC, it's about uncertainty, which is mandatory now under the Paris Accord. So it's lack of transparency on reporting, on also NDC tracking. So these are the big, let's say, gaps in the BTRs. We can understand that because this is the first BTR, it's under Paris Accord, of course, and MPGs. So the big lesson learned, by me at least, is that it's more emissions, they did good, but there is lack QC, archiving, uncertainty, etc. And the improvement, let's say improvement plan, what is planned for improvement, these are the missing parts. And I will let Samir maybe to add things on this. Thank you.
Okay, so
Yes, thank
maybe
you,
we
thank
will
you.
need to, Mr. Samir, could you please answer other questions from Ms. Hannah and Mr. Razan? Because of time, I think we still
Okay, no
have one
problem.
presentation. Okay,
Yeah, okay.
Ms. Hannah, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Kulthum, and thank you, the two presenters for the presentation. I have maybe two comments, one comment and one question. The one comment is regarding the issue of comparability. It is also with the same line with Munir. That is even the BTR, the purpose of it, it is not the matter of comparability between countries, but it is a matter of improvement of the reporting in a transparent way, and also to track the progress of the NDCs by time. The other issue that I want to stress on from the presenter, it may be, yes, they explain the challenges, but the challenges is very general, generic challenges. I expected that to have specific challenges that they observe during their review, particularly for the Arab region countries, about the process of the BTR itself, and to what extent the countries are consistent with what is required in the MPGs, and what is the main the main challenges in terms of capacity, in terms of data, in terms of I think there are many things that should be noticed by the reviewer during the review of the developing countries, particularly the Arab countries, because we need to improve our reporting during the time. And this is very important to reflect the views of the reviewer, the first reviewer, and their experiences. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hannah. Mr. Samir, would you like to answer?
Yes, thank you, Hannah, for this very important question, and thank you for the comment as well. I think for your question, it's a case by case. I cannot give a general recommendation that is applicable for all Arab countries. Let's say I have in the beginning. I have to say that I have not involved in reviewing BTR from Arab countries yet. I will welcome that very much for sure. The next mission to review the BTR will be in for African country, one of the biggest African countries. But to identify challenges for Arab countries, I think it's a case by case. Some countries have strong, for example, strong national inventory system. Some countries have not started yet and still work on individual base, not institutional base. Some countries has capacity in using models, for example. Other countries have not such capacity for using models, either mitigation models, energy models, and so on. So I think to give any recommendations, it will not be on a general base. It will be a case by case base. I hope I could answer your question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Samir. That was very clear. I think Razan, do you still have any questions from Bahrain?
Hello, Kulthum. No, thank you. The speakers both clarified, and I think Dr. Saeed and Ms. Hannah also raised similar questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for all of you for attending this webinar, and thank you, Mr. Samir and Menwar, for sharing your valuable experience. We are very proud of you. So let us now go to the next, to the last session, which is how to become a TER expert, because everybody could become also a TER expert. Is that true, Mr. Samir?
Yes,
Not
sure,
only
and
the review, but
we are looking forward to have as many experts from Arab countries as possible. We hope to have many.
Yeah, especially because we are speaking Arabic, and they don't have much people who have this skill. So, how to become one of the UNFCCC roster experts? To become an eligible member and to participate in the TER review is simple. You just need, first of all, to register to the UNFCCC roster of experts. Then your application will be directly communicated to the UNFCCC focal points. So your national focal point needs to approve you. Once you are approved, you will be eligible to pass some examinations to become the TER team. So it's simple, it's very simple, and everybody can do that. But of course, you need to have the recommended and skills for GG inventory, for NDC tracking, for the financial and technology transfer and capacity building also. And you need to have expertise on adaptation. Not all of them at the same time, but each one in its specific area. So this is actually the link of the roster of experts. Here, you can just apply your application, and then you put all your informations about your background, about your work, you put also your CV, and you can obviously, of course, scan the QR code here to access to this page. This page is offering also national focal points, is offering nominated experts from all countries, and how to access also. So we will have a live demo after. So from MENA, we have a lot of experts who are in the roster of the UNFCCC, but the country with a higher number of experts is Egypt, with 73 members from the MENA region. And Mr. Samir Tantawi is one of the lead reviewers. He already, mashallah, reviewed like 27 reports. Then we have Algeria with 55 member. 55 experts already registered there, and Mr. Munawar is one of the lead reviewers. He, mashallah, also reviewed already 31 reports with the UNFCCC. Which means BURs, BRs, and national communications. In the third place, we have Sudan with 30 experts. We have also United Arab Emirates with 21 experts and Saudi Arabia with 26. For other countries, we can find like 6 experts, 9, 8, 13. So these countries are really with the higher number of experts registered into the UNFCCC roster. Okay, here the structure of training program. As I mentioned before, once you are assigned or approved by the national focal points, UNFCCC focal points, that doesn't allow you to do the TER work directly. So you need to pass some exams. These exams are what you see here. We have the first one is about general and cross-cutting aspects. And this course A is providing an overview of the ATF, the scope of the expert, the technical expert review, and everything that you need to know as a cross-cutting aspects. Then you will need to choose B or C or D or E. It depends on your skills. B is about the greenhouse gas inventory or GG inventory. Then C, it's tracking progress in implementing and achieving NDC. And D is the financial technology development or FTC support. And E, it's the new one, the new course added, I think, to the program in February or January, I guess. It's on adaptation. So now people or experts could also pass the exam on climate change impacts and adaptation. So here, I'm not talking only about people who are interested to be experts with the TER, but also if you just want to enhance your knowledge in the ATF in these areas, all these courses are accessible online and open access. So you can all have these courses, you can download the material, you can also have some practical exercises, and then the examination is allowed only to people who are already registered and already approved by the UNFCCC. So in each slide, you can see the QR code where you can access directly to these courses. So here is the page from the UNFCCC where you can access to all these courses. We will see it in the live demo. So we need to explain this. So if you are a new or experienced expert, it means that one of the experts that did the review for BURs, national communications, and BRs previously under the convention of UNFCCC. And now they need to be one of the technical expert reviewers under Paris Agreement and the ATF, because it doesn't mean if you were an expert, you will still be allowed to do the review for now for BTRs. So if you are new, we will start with that. You will need to take course A and at least B1. If you want GG inventory, if you are an expert in GG inventory, you will need to take B1, which is cross-cutting our inventory. And then at least one of the sub-courses from B2 to B6. From B2 to B6, they are the sectoral courses on GG. For example, if you are working on energy, you should take the course B2. If you are experts on LULUCF, maybe the B6, etc. And if you just if you just succeed all these courses, you will be one of the experts, and you could be invited anytime to do the review for BTRs. If you are also you are skilled in NDC tracking, you should take course E. Course E is mandatory for everybody, and then C1 and C2, and at least C3 or C4. C3 is on progress made in implementing and achieving the NDC, and C4 is about projections. And of course, if you are more comfortable in the financial reporting, so please take course D, which is a very big course, but very, very interesting and not very complicated too. And the new one is adaptation. So you will need also to take course E. If you are already experienced expert, like we have a lot of other experts from MENA, I think they are all also eligible to be part of the technical expert review, like Leah Kay from Lebanon, and like Boucham Abdelghni from Morocco, and Amr Abdelaziz from Egypt, and a lot of other people. So if you have already experience, so you will need to take course E, and on GHG inventory, it depends. If you already participated to a technical review on GHG inventory under the convention, if yes, you will not need to take any other courses, except if you would like, for example, to be an expert in a different sector. So that means that you will need to take another sub course, even B2 to B6. It depends on the sector. And if you did already a technical review for targets and mitigation, so you will not need to take C1 and C2. And if you didn't, so you will need to take C1 and C2 only. For projection, it's the same. So if you did already the technical review for projection, you will not need to take C1, C2, and C4. But if you did already, you will just need to take C1 and C2 only. If yes, C1 and C2, otherwise you will need also to add C4 and other information. So I will share all presentations with you so you can understand the process. So we have 4 round or period of examinations. So the first one is from January, and examination dates on February. And we are now until in the middle of the registration period for the second period, which is from 7 to 20 April. So if you are interested, you are already registered, if you can do this process before in these 5 days, so you can also register for the second period to pass the exams between 5 and 18 May. The third period is from June, July, and then the examination from 21 July and August. As you can see, always the examination dates are for 2 weeks. So you can like wait until you already you still have like 2 weeks. It's very easy to access to all these courses, and exams are also very easy. So it's just like the basis. So if you are engaged in preparing BTRs, if you already just assisted in our webinars on NDC tracking, on ATF, I think you will have a lot of chance to succeed these examinations. Okay, so thank you very much for your attention, but that's not all. I think I will take you over the. So here, if you just put UNFCCC roster, this is the link that you need to to take into consideration. You need to sign here and to apply to be a roster of experts. And once you complete everything, your focal point will receive an email to approve you. So talk to your national focal points before, and then he will just give you the approval, and then you will have access to register and pass the exams. You will just every time receive some emails from the team of transparency in UNFCCC to register. So when it comes to the training programs, these are all the training programs. You can see here all of them, courses and examinations dates, and all other information. And here courses. So if you apply, if you click on that, you will have access to start the course online, or you can also download the course offline. This is the version, so you can download that on PDF version. So yeah, that's all from my side, and thank you very much. So I would like to open the floor for your discussion if you may have any other questions related to how to become a technical expert reviewer. Okay, I don't know if you have any questions. Mentimeter. Smahan, is it possible that the TER can be parts? Sorry, Smahan.
Yes, Kulsum.
What
Sorry,
was your
because
question? Is
yes,
it
I want to
possible
ask
that
yes, it is possible that the chair can be one of the team in charge of preparing BTR, and at the same time they can do the review.
Yes, of course. You can, it's logically, this is how things should be. So, for example, all people in the team who are already working or worked on BTR and other transparency reports, they need to be signed as experts in the roster of UNFCCC. But just to clarify one thing, you can be in the team of preparing your BTR at the national level, but you cannot review your own BTR. So you will be asked or invited to review other BTRs from other countries. Okay, because they need to take into consideration to avoid any conflicts of interest.
Okay, good. I have another question. If you have any idea about the upcoming training for the MENA region, yes, on the transparency. Do you have any idea about this?
Yeah, of course. So we are planning for one training. It will be on 4 days. The objective will be on linking NDC with BTR and how the BTR can be useful for your for the preparation of your NDC 3.0. But the potential dates are in July, but we need to discuss further these dates with the other partners, because it will be jointly organized by GGI, UNEPROA, and UNFCCC, and also, of course, CBGSP and UNFCCC. And about the examinations dates, as I just mentioned, so now you can register for the second round of examination period, which will begin from in I think from 20 in May. let's say in May.
In May.
Okay. We have one hand from Muna Bispis. Muna, please go ahead.
Yes. Thank you, Kaltoum, for the presentation. I would like to ask you if there is a minimum number of taking courses. The person accomplished a number of selected courses, but if there is a minimum number to be chosen or selected to participate in the technical expert review.
Yeah, as I mentioned previously, so we advise all new participants to take 2 courses at the same time. 2 courses, it's the maximum, and you can also take 1. But to be eligible as technical expert review, you need, for example, for GG inventory, you need to pass the exam A. Exam A is mandatory for everybody. So exam A is mandatory for everybody. Then if you are experts in GG inventory, you will need to pass B1 and at least from B2 to B6. So it depends on the sector, because from B2 to B6, they are talking about sectorial inventory, which means energy, IPPU, LULUCF, waste, and what is the other one? I forgot. So
agriculture.
Afolo, yes, agriculture. Okay,
Yes,
so
yes.
for NDC tracking, you will need to pass the exam A, and then C1 and C2, they are all mandatory, and then you can choose even C3 if you are more comfortable in NDC progress, or you have also other skills in projection, you can pass also C4. And for the financial support or FTC, it's just only course D, but course D is a very, very long course. And for adaptation, course E. So the mandatory one is A. So just took a look at the schema that I just shared with you to see which courses you need to pass. Okay?
Okay, okay.
Okay, if do we have any other questions? I think no. So let's share our final session, not a session, but it's actually just for your feedback. Okay, please, colleagues, try to Please, colleagues, try to join us by scanning the QR code or by joining at menti.com and use the user code, which is 1391 1307. So this is very important in our feedback to the Jeff. So we shall always get this okay. So did you join us? Okay, very good. You can scan the QR code or go to menti.com. You go to the menti.com, enter this code 13911307, and the easy way is always to scan the QR code. Okay, let's see how many participants we have with us already. Please indicate your gender, and you can always access if you didn't already using the QR code. Okay, we have the same. Oh, more females. Mr. Samir, where are you? Okay,
I'm
we
joining.
have
I'm joining.
5, grade 6. Okay. 6, so 11. 6, the same number, 7. Great. So how satisfied are you with this technical webinar? Are you very satisfied, neither satisfied, nor dissatisfied, or very dissatisfied, like very mad? Okay, we have 6 very satisfied, 7 for satisfied. Thank you very much. That's very nice of you. 9 very satisfied and 5 satisfied. Was this event useful for your work? I know that all parties and countries need to be better prepared for the TER. So, and I think 100% all participants are working on transparency in parts. What was the most useful that you will take away from this webinar? How to become a TER? This is very good. So we can expect like having more experts after this webinar, right? Preparation for BTR review, good preparation, preparing for TER, the process of the TER overview, lessons learned on preparation to TER, how to become a technical expert review, process of the technical expert review, the internal exercise that could be undertaken, the process requirement. Thank you very much. So thank you very much, guys, for attending, and it's really a great pleasure for me to work with you guys. As always, I would like to announce also that we are preparing for a second MENA webinar series on GHG inventory. It will focus this time on improvement plan, on how to establish a management data systems, interoperability with the tools, UNFCCC tools like IPCC software and everything. So it will be on 3 or 4 days. We are still working on the agenda, and we will try to deliver also certificates of participation, just as what we did with the adaptation webinar series. And I'm calling all countries, if you would like to take advantage from our support for this year, please don't hesitate to reach out to me on my email or on my phone number. You can just express your need, and we are here to support you in whatever you are doing in transparency. And even for countries who already submitted their BTR, we can support you in improve your version and submit another improved version of your BTR, or for better prepare for the technical expert review. Thank you very much, guys, and hope to see you in our upcoming webinars and workshops.
Thank you very much. See you.
Thank you very much, Kulthum. It was very interesting. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much,
Thank you, Kulthum.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very much. Thank you, Kulthum.
Thank you. It's nice.
À bientôt,
Thank you,
Inch'Allah.
Hassan. Merci
Thank
beaucoup.
you.
À bientôt. Merci beaucoup.